Hello everybody and welcome back to GSL-English. My name is Gideon and in today's lesson we are going to be practicing our listening skills and learning some new British vocabulary. If you are new here, firstly, a very warm welcome, but let me just explain how today's video is going to work. So firstly, I am going to speak to you out loud. I want you to listen really carefully because the text is not going to be on the screen. I am going to say it twice and then afterwards I'm going to ask you some questions to see how much you heard and understood. Then after that we are going to break down and look at some of the vocabulary that we used. So that's enough of me babbling on. Let's get into it. Now going to say the text out loud. Make sure you listen carefully and then answer the questions. We went to London the other day. It was chucking it down, but we still had a fantastic time. We ended up buying the unlimited travel card, so we could catch the train anywhere we wanted to go. Although, having said that, we tried getting the underground to Leicester Square. It was rammed, so we decided to just grab a taxi instead. Okay, so I'm now going to repeat it again, and this will be the last time, so listen carefully. We went to London the other day. It was chucking it down, but we still had a fantastic time. We ended up buying the unlimited travel card, so we could catch the train anywhere we wanted to go. Although, having said that, we tried getting the underground to Leicester Square. It was rammed, so we decided to just grab a taxi instead. There you go. That is the text we are going to look at. Let's now test your listening. We went to London. Now I use an expression here. What was it? We went to London the other day. Great expression. We're going to look at that in a moment. And then I spoke about the weather. It was, what did I say? How was the weather? I used a particular word. It was chucking it down. But we still had a fantastic time. And then I used another expression. We ended up buying the unlimited, what is it called? Now this is a ticket we can actually buy in London. I bought the unlimited travel card. Next part, so we could the train anywhere we wanted to go. Used a particular word. So we could catch the train. Use that all the time. Again, don't worry. We're going to look at this vocabulary in a moment. Then I use that great expression. Having said that, we tried getting the to We tried getting the to What did we get? The underground to where? Leicester Square. The pronunciation of that is difficult. Leicester Square. When we got down to the underground, it was, used another adjective here, it was rammed. So we decided to just a taxi instead. Grab. We decided to grab a taxi instead. So let me know in the comments, how many of those questions did you get right? Let's break down the vocabulary that we used. Now, one of the first expressions we used in this video was the other day. We went to London the other day. And I really love this expression. It's a great casual expression we often use when telling a story or we're talking about something that has happened recently. And when we use the expression the other day, we're not talking about a particular day. We basically just mean a recent day, a day that happened recently. And we do this because sometimes it doesn't matter to the story. We don't need to know the specific day. Or sometimes we simply just can't remember what day it was or what day this particular event happened. So we just say the other day. Oh, I saw a great film the other day. Doesn't really matter what day we saw it. I went to the shops the other day. It doesn't matter what day we did that, or we simply can't remember. First expression, I love to use it the other day. Now this next word, quite imperative to use in England. It was chucking it down. Do you have any guesses as to what that could mean? To be honest, it's not that difficult. If we're talking about the weather in England, of course, it means it's raining. But when we say that it is chucking it down, we don't just mean that light rain that we can continue with our day. When we say that it is chucking it down, we mean that the rain is extremely heavy. You know when it's raining so hard that you're kind of running from shop to shop. Even an umbrella isn't really enough. That is what we mean when we say that it is chucking it down. We could say lashing it down, but I like to use chucking. It's chucking it down. You look out the window, ugh, it's chucking it down. I'm not going out today. If you visit England, you'll find you use this word a lot. And then I use this brilliant expression, ended up. And we use this when we are talking about a conclusion or the final decision or action that was made. And we often use this expression when we have been looking at a few different options relating to something, and then we make a decision. And in this instance, we were looking at different options of tickets. So maybe we were looking at off-peak, one-way, return. But the decision we made was to buy the ultimate. I'm going to look at that in a moment. So we ended up doing that, the final decision that was made. And we can use this in conversation, in small talk. What did you end up doing at the weekend? Basically saying, what did you decide to do at the weekend? Great expression to use. Ended up, the final decision or conclusion that we have come to. Then we spoke about the ticket that we bought, which was the unlimited travel card. Now, what is a travel card? I've taken this directly from the London Transport website, and this is what it said. Enjoy unlimited travel on London's public transport, including bus, tube, tram, DLR, London Overground, Elizabeth Line, and National Rail services. I'm not too sure why I just did that voice. It felt appropriate, but I don't know if it was. Yeah, I'm not too sure why I did the voice. I won't do that again. A bit more information on a travel card in case you're going to London. Any day travel cards, use for the date on the ticket and for journeys starting before 4:30 the next day. So basically, if you get a travel card, you can travel around London for that day using the bus, the underground. It's a good alternative for a ticket. So we could catch the train. Another great expression that I love to use, and it is basically an informal way of saying to get. Of course, we don't actually physically catch a train. So when we talk about catching transport, it's the transport that we use. I caught the train. I caught the bus. I'm going to catch the train at 9 o'clock. We are going to get the train at that time. But just a nice informal, casual way of saying that. Use this expression also in another way. I don't want to catch a cold. Now, a cold is when we feel fluey and we're coughing and we have a sore throat. I don't want to catch. I don't want to get a cold. So another way that we can use that word. And then we used a fantastic transitional phrase. Having said that. Although, having said that, when people say or when we say having said that, it is a signal that they are going to say something which will contrast or disagree with something that was said a moment ago. So if we look at this example, we got the travel card so we could get the train anywhere we needed to go. Having said that, we decided to get a taxi. So we can see that we have brought in a contrast to the original statement and point that we made. Then we tried getting the underground. Now, I'll be honest, the underground is fantastic, but I'm really not its biggest fan. Little fact about the underground, not all of it is underground. Some of it actually goes above ground. And it's anywhere that you see this sign, there is an underground station. Of course, in America, I think in New York, it's called the subway, but it is a brilliant way to get around London. And if you are visiting London and you have any questions or not sure which line to get, ask a member of staff and they will definitely help you. A little random fact about the Underground is that the total length of it is 249 miles. That is incredible. So that if you were to just take the whole length of the Underground straight, you would travel for 249 miles. I thought I'd throw in a little fact there just to keep it interesting. And where did we get the Underground to? We took it to Leicester Square. It is not Leicester, Leicester, Leicester Square. I would recommend visiting Leicester Square if you go to London. It really is one of the hubs of London. It is always very busy, so if you're not good with crowds, try and go there earlier in the morning. Here you will find the West End, which is where all of the shows are, London's equivalent to the Broadway. So if that interests you, even if you're not going to see a show, looking at the theatres, the atmosphere, the hubbub, I highly recommend visiting Leicester Square. And they have a huge M&M shop there. So if you are interested and like M&Ms, like myself, you must go. But we didn't end up getting the Underground because it was rammed. Basically, when we say that somewhere is rammed, we're saying that it is extremely busy. Sometimes you walk into a party or a room, it's rammed, too many people, you walk straight back out. In this instance, that is what we did. We looked at the Underground, it was rammed, we thought no. So we decided to grab a taxi instead. Another very informal way of saying get. But with a taxi, of course, in a way, in a sense, we do grab it because we put our arm out and we hail it. So in London, if you want a taxi and you see one, you can put your arm out and they will stop to take you where you need to go. But as a note, if there is a little light on the front of a black cab or the taxi in London, if the light is on, it's free to take passengers. If it is off, that means that that cab is busy or it is not taking anyone. So keep that in mind. If the light is on, you can put your arm out and grab it. But if not, then you can't. And we can also use this word in another context to get, for example, let's grab some food. Let's get some food. Or I need to grab something from the shop. Not necessarily grab it, but just the idea of getting it. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that video lesson today. We practiced our listening skills. Please let me know in the comments how many you got right. And then we broke down some of the vocabulary that we used. Now, one thing I do highly recommend is review this vocabulary after this lesson tomorrow and try and use it over the next week. Because when we use new vocabulary, it stays in our brain. Otherwise, it just goes. So I hope you enjoyed that video lesson today. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel and I'll see you all very soon. Have a good one, guys.